What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Let's Talk Movies. I'm Brad.
No, Miguel.
And it's been a hot minute since we got to talk about anything on the channel. It's been quiet, dealing with like super crazy schedules not matching up and illness. The flu hit my family hard, but what has also hit us hard emotionally in the brains and the hearts and the butts and everywhere else was episode number 4 and 5 of The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, titled What We and Become. They've done this weird thing with the titles. Have you noticed that? Where it's like the first episode
What have
was
we become?
years,
Days gone by,
and then 2,
what we become.
and 2 was gone, and then 3 was by.
Yeah.
Like it's like it's creating sentences, and I don't know what the finale will be called, but there's these. Yeah, it's just called finale. That's it. Years gone by, what we become. Finale. The end. This is it. Fine.
It would be so on the nose for The Walking Dead to do that too.
100%. Like they titled the series finale of the OG show "Rest in Peace." I was like, "Dog, you could have come up with a better one than that." But whatever. These were 2 very emotional episodes, very Rick and Michonne centered episodes, and I know that seems silly to say because the series is centered around them, but in a way that I don't think the first 3 were. Like we took the first episode to really catch up with Rick. We took the second episode to really catch up with Michonne. We took the third episode to kind of navigate, like, okay, Michonne is there, but you also have Jadis who's in the mix now, and we're trying to deal with Beale, and like there were a lot of moving parts in episode 3. Episode 4, which was called I forget now. Become What We. It was called What We. It's such a weird name for an episode. What episode is this? What We. Titled What We. So essentially, we were at the end of episode 3. Michonne grabs Rick, threw him out of the helicopter. Did not know where that was going to go. By the way, I was like,
yeah, you sent me a text.
What?
Like, what?
Yeah, I was really confused when I watched that. It was dope, and in my head, I was like, they have to be over water. Like, there's no way they'd survive that if they were not over top of water. 100%, they'd be splattered on the ground. But yeah. They did. They managed to be over water, and they found this neat little it was a community. Not connected to the CRM or any community that we know of.
Google employees, essentially.
I know, right? Like you could tell it was smart people that were a part of this community, in an abandoned apartment building. Had greenhouses, had some tech that somehow still managed to be going at this point in the apocalypse after everything that had gone on. We met the biggest OG character of the entire series, Roomba, who, man...
You've been mentioning
Roomba was a real one.
Much. It's like,
good character.
Yeah.
Very well written character.
Yep.
The best. No character has ever been a better character. Believe me, I know characters. That one was the best, greatest. But yeah, it was a lot of technology. You could tell things were they kind of had a lot figured out, and then it went poorly at some point along the way. And Rick and Michonne stumble into this community.
Correct, didn't they?
I don't know. Is it possible to do everything correct in the zombie apocalypse? Like, is that a thing? Can you do that? No. But Rick and Michonne stumble into this, and we're really thrown into this. As Michonne says, they needed a timeout. I mean, she's pissed, and he's pissed, and he's already tried to get her to escape to CRM. She won't do it. He is. I had texted Miguel, and I was like, bro is scared out of his mind, like out the wazoo scared. Rick is not about leaving the CRM to go back to Alexandria. He is terrified of what could happen, and the 2 of them essentially just needed to brawl it out and just lay all of the cards on the table. And episode 4 kind of acted as a bottle episode. We didn't really go to too many different locations other than the 2 bedrooms that they were in, the 2 apartments that they were in during the show.
Yeah.
So, and there were a lot of super emotional conversations that happened. I mean, we brought up Daryl, we brought up Carl, we brought up people
pretty
back
much
home.
brought up the entire fucking cast.
Yeah, and not even necessarily just by name, but you could feel the essence of what Michonne was trying to say. Like,
Trying to bring him back into like reality.
right. And I think largely Rick has been lying to himself out of fear. He sees what the CRM can do, but at the same time, Michonne has seen what the CRM can do. She was straight up gassed, literally chlorine gassed.
Mm-hmm.
Took a year for her to get back up on her feet. And she still, is fearless, wants to fight back, wants to get away, wants Rick to try. So essentially, she is trying to get Rick on board to go home and to take the plunge and to do this thing, to go home with her. And essentially, we are thrown into Rick's emotional fight with himself in terms of what he wants, and it takes him getting some. Let's just be honest, it does. It takes him getting a little bit to to really buy in. Not really. The conversation that followed that, once the building was beginning to collapse, was that was the catalyst, really.
Mm-hmm.
When she finally says, like, what are you so afraid of? And like, what did they do to you? And essentially he's saying, he forgot, not forgot Carl in a literal sense, but they made him forget Carl's vision for what Carl wanted. When we saw him before the bridge blew. I don't know what I'm saying. Before the blip, yeah. Before the bridge blew, when and Rick's exit from The Walking Dead, he was trying to make Carl's vision a reality. He wanted the saviors to be a part of the communities. He wanted them to contribute. He wanted everybody to work together, and the bridge was supposed to signify the fact that, hey, we're together in this, and he tried so hard to make Carl's vision a reality, and then I think he saw the bigger picture of what's really out there, and it just shattered that reality for him. And Rick has been living, I saw an interesting thing. I think I tagged you on Facebook. Somebody on Facebook had said Rick literally is The Walking Dead. Like, he has died to the former version of himself.
Yeah.
And he is solely living out of fear and hope that the work he can do with the CRM will somehow help people.
Yeah.
I mean, Rick it's like I've seen a lot of other people say Stockholm syndrome, where it's like you develop a sick relationship with your captor kind of thing. Like, it's very interesting. And Michonne is like really struggling in that 4th episode to break him of that.
Well, it's like the way I see it, like Michonne's like experienced the CRM, like it's from the standpoint of like she experienced like the tip of the sword essentially of the CRM, like what they can do on an offensive level or even defensive level when they're trying to protect their anonymity. But when it comes to Rick, that was almost like psychological. What they did to him pretty much was like indoctrinated my man to the point of just saying there is no hope of escaping, otherwise your entire family or your entire civilization is gone. Michonne wasn't there for any of that type of indoctrination.
Right.
All she saw was big bad group attack my group. Now I'm upset and I need to take it back. Which is essentially
attack my group.
Which is essentially what they've all experienced from the get-go, from season 2 all the way to where we are now, like with the governor, with the saviors, with the whisperers, and the all like all of these factions. Like, like as soon as they realize that the people that they are met with are a threat, their goal is pretty much to eradicate them, remove them from the map, and then move on, which is essentially what the mentality was. And that was the mentality that Michonne is still a part of because of just because of how we've all been indoctrinated with The Walking Dead. Like, new group, you gotta take them out. This is how the plot's got to go.
Yeah.
But with Rick, it's a lot different because, again, like you said, like the Stockholm syndrome, like my man has been like psychologically like broken down to the point where he just becomes another man in a helmet kind of thing. Like, he becomes a pawn in the whole massive game that the CRM is playing.
Well,
so
and like I think a lot of it stems from fear. I mean, I think he's afraid of leaving. He's afraid of them finding out about Alexandria and Hilltop. He is, he's afraid of what could happen to Michonne if they found out that they were together and that they did know each other and they had that relationship. I think fear rules a lot of what he's doing. But even if you go back to the first, I think it's in episode 1 or 2, when he's writing letters to Michonne, he's writing her letters that she's never going to read. But he, at one point he even says, like, he's trying to believe in the cause of what the CRM is doing. And I think that's just his way of making himself feel better about the situation. I mean, I don't know how much he really buys into the CRM. I think he obviously sees that there are problems, that they're hypocritical, that they're not really like the all great, whatever. They're not good people, and it's been teased now that Rick is going to receive the Echelon Briefing in episode 6 in the season finale.
The Echelon Briefing and the list of Jadis's groups.
And I'm very, very, very intrigued to hear what the Echelon Briefing is, because every character that has heard it in the show, and every time it's discussed like this incredible, life-changing, you won't look at your life the same way again type thing. And I told Miguel, we were talking on the phone some earlier today, and I was like, what could that be? Like, I don't know what their game plan, like, what could be that big other than this idea of two things come to mind, and these could be completely wrong. But first of all, they've found a way to kill all the walkers, which I think that's, if they had a way to kill walkers, then why are we waiting?
That been a thing yet,
what are you waiting on? And then number 2, are they just going to are they already aware of all of these different communities? Are they just going to start like mass genocide, all of these, murdering people to start fresh? Like, I don't understand what the Echelon Briefing is, but I kind of have a feeling that in the season finale, which I just looked it up, is tight. Oh shoot! Now I literally just looked it up and now it went away. Hold on. The Last Time. It's called The Last Time. So I don't know what that means. I don't know exactly what the Echelon Briefing is and what's in it and what we're going to find out over the course of this last episode, but I'm sure it's something big. And my prediction,
slightly disappointed if it's something
stupid, like something really small,
silly. Yeah,
I know, because it's been talked up so much. But I don't know what it's going to be, but I have a feeling that Rick is going to hear it, and he's going to be the, as you said, we are the Walking Dead. We're the ones who live. Like, he's going to want to change it from the inside out. He's going to want to, be the dude to change it and make it better and make the world
that's Michonne
better
right
and
now.
save everybody.
That's Michonne,
which kind of surprised me.
She's essentially the Rick trying to bring in someone that's, been radicalized, or that's not a part of, that's not drinking the Kool-Aid of what we consider the Walking Dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, so and we're to episode 5 now. First of all, one thing we didn't talk about episode 4 that was a really, really big deal. Well, 2 things. Number 1, she told Rick about RJ, which was big. And number 2, see, this is where I was kind of blown away that it took so much to convince Rick to leave and to go back home, or start making their way back home, because making your way downtown,
making my way
downtown. But because they saw that the helicopter crashed, he had his way out. He literally, they had their way out of the whole situation. The only problem was what was Jadis and her documents that she stowed away about the communities. But they had a way out, and she even told him about RJ. And bro was still terrified and wanted to go back to the CRM. It took a lot of emotional connection and an emotional war between Michonne and himself to really okay, I want to go home, to to
Which,
get
if I were to
a
hear
little bit of
all of
King
that
Kong in
stuff,
him and just want to go home.
if I were to hear all of that, I would automatically be like, like I would at least like entertain the thought of like going back
Right.
home. But
Yeah.
Rick was like ready to push that button. You know what I mean?
Oh
He was
yeah,
ready to phone
100%.
home. He was ready to ET phone home this
Yeah.
entire episode.
Yep. It was at war
And
with itself. He even says in episode 5, he was like, I was lying to myself about like what I wanted and like what I, you know, he
mhm.
straight up says it. But it's funny. I don't know if you listen to the after episode talk, the little like episode insider thing that they do. It's
Man,
like three or
I
four
miss
minutes long.
I miss the Talking Dead, man.
I know. I do too. I
Yeah.
really do. I think it's still on. I just I don't
We just don't
I
fucking
just
cable
haven't
like that,
I haven't watched. I know. I'm watching it on AMC Plus. I don't have cable
Mhm.
anymore. But I wonder if that's on AMC Plus. That might be on AMC Plus. Maybe I'll watch it.
Yeah.
But Scott Gimple was like, this episode was kind of like a honeymoon for Rick and Michonne. Essentially,
Mhm.
they're together. They're on the road. There's a lot of playful banter and fun stuff between them. You know what I mean? Like
Like in episode 5?
Yes, we
Well, it
get
was that
them.
was the first couple of minutes was essentially what Scott said was the honeymoon phase. Like
Right.
it's like their official honeymoon before getting married, before the engagement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was just them, like going out there enjoying, and like making
Enjoying
up the lost
tasteful
time.
nudes.
Yeah, like enjoying the lost times that they had in their
Right.
eco-friendly Nissan Frontier. So
Yeah. Well, and we see like we see them cooking and laughing in the car and talking, and when they go in the gift shop in are they in Yosemite? I think they're in Wyoming. I believe it said Wyoming,
oof.
right?
Yes.
Possibly. Is that where Yosemite is? I'm an idiot. Uh
Oh, well.
let's look that up. That's in
That's in
California.
California.
Maybe they were.
You're
I don't know. I
dumb
don't
as
know where they were.
fuck.
Whatever. They were in some park. I forget exactly where it
Mhm.
was. Yellowstone. That's where it was. Not Yosemite. Yellowstone. I was along the right lines. So they're in Yellowstone and they're in this gift shop, and there's some playful banter between like the license plate thing with the names. Like it's fun stuff. It's stuff that is just like it's fun to watch. It's fun to see them banter and interact with each other and things like that. I thought the interaction between the 3 random hitchhiker survivors off in the woods, that was
Mhm.
an interesting interaction to me, because we obviously see at the end of the show, about Michonne says when Jadis is, spoiler alert, when Jadis is, after she's been bitten and she's obviously bleeding out and she's obviously dying and she's obviously infected now.
She's obviously gonna be the
Um,
Walking Dead. And, yeah.
Right. She's the Walking Dead. She's not the one who lives. Like, um, um, but and Jadis is like, "What? Get destroy the document, go home, whatever. But please leave the CRM alone." And Michonne is like, "No, no,
I know.
we're
I
not
love how
gonna,
she
we're not
flip-flopped.
gonna leave the CRM." I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay."
It's like
It
out of nowhere. Now Michonne's like, no, fuck the CRM. We are the Walking Dead. This
we
is gonna go down.
we are the Walking Dead. That's how I need them to say it though. Like from now on, anytime they give it
Oh, the
inspirational
level of
speak,
sass.
we're the
And
ones who live. We're the Walking Dead. You're not. That's just it. No, but so like I get this vibe that it's like Rick, and it's funny because he was a cop. It's like Rick and Michonne want to be like the police of the apocalypse. You know what I mean?
God,
Like
don't tell me that.
these 3 people try to rob them, and they essentially just like teach him a lesson. Like season 5 Rick, if somebody would have tried to rob season 5 Rick, their bones he hit somebody with a car and broke their spine in season 5 and then shot them. Like
Well, what I thought was gonna happen with the
it's
whole like Jadis and Rick and Michonne stand up that they had in there, I thought it was gonna be the same scenario that Rick and Daryl had with some random. I think it was like if you lay down your gun, you can walk, you can be free. And then the guy like drops his gun, and then like I think it was Rick or Daryl. Like Rick or Daryl just shot him. This is it. And because
I
you remember,
believe it was Daryl. I don't
was it
remember.
Daryl?
I think I remember that. Was that during the Savior's War?
I think so.
Maybe.
He's like all we have is our word. Our word is all we live by now. And then just straight up and just caps, dude. I was like, we are the Walking Dead.
No,
We
no,
hold
no.
we hold no
That was
lies.
Rick and Morgan. That was during the Saviors War. Rick and Morgan were captured, and Rick was like, "I give you my word, if you release us, like whatever." And the two of them just like straight up John Wicked all those
No, like
Saviors in
he's
there.
okay. So apparently he's done that like multiple times.
See, but these people they decided to be like,
Hmm.
you didn't say the magic word like Newman
Hmm.
in Jurassic Park, like
Yeah.
like it was just like it was more of a slap on the wrist than a real like did anything to them. You know what I mean? They
Hmm.
knocked him down. They told him how it was. They were like, promise us you won't do this to anybody else. And the
Hmm.
guy was like, how do you know we won't? And Rick was basically like, Rick's like, because if you do it to somebody else, you won't be the ones who live. You'll be the Walking Dead. Like, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like even with the CRM thing, it's like they want to be the people to like to make sure everybody's doing right by other people. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Which is it's an interesting place to be in given their situation with the CRM and with Jadis and with every like the entire mess that they're caught up in anyways, you know.
Hmm.
But
No, I get it.
um so Jadis ends up catching up with them. I find it strange. Jadis like when she had them tie each other to the bed, she straight up could have killed them.
Well, no, I
100%.
mean they
She
you
could
gotta
have.
give that villain speech. I mean, what's a
I know,
good
but even when she
episode
started
villain
shooting,
without a
like,
villain speech?
and Pollyanna McIntosh in that episode, Insider had even said this too. Like she, which we see this later with the Father Gabriel cameo, but she was torn. I think she was torn between like, even in talking to Gabriel,
She just wanted to make pottery. That's it. She just wanted to make
she
art.
did. She just wanted to make art. That was
She
it.
wanted
If
to make
she could have
art
just kept
naked
making art in the
in
dump
the trash.
naked, then she'd have been fine. Like
Yeah.
that, all would have been right in the world. That's it.
Hmm.
No, but she, obviously, I think she's found an identity in something she can be a part in, and people that she can protect, and power that she can have in the CRM. But she also recognizes the fact that Rick and I don't think it's personal with Rick and Michonne. I really don't. I don't think it's that she doesn't like. Shoot, she's teased about wanting to sleep with Rick at least 7 times in the show.
I
Like,
know.
she
I thought it was
wants
gonna be like a
him
jealousy thing.
bad, bad,
Hmm.
and I don't think it's ever been personal with her. I don't think she doesn't like him. I don't think she's not a. I asked Miguel if he considered her to be a villain. I don't think I would consider Jadis to be a vindictive villain, not like a governor or even like a Negan. She's an opportunist villain. She has this opportunity in the CRM, and she is taking that opportunity and drinking. She's not drinking the Kool-Aid. She's like chugging like she's snorting the
Hmm.
Kool-Aid. I mean, like
Hmm.
taking it any way she can.
Well, it
And
just goes back to like how she lost her entire group like
right,
in one
which she
fell
even
swoop.
mentions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which I mean that can really like hit someone like hard. And we've seen
right.
how losing your group or for like, every single one of the characters that we've met in The Walking Dead has lost like their initial group.
Yeah.
And you've seen how it affects them so bad to the point where they latch on to the new group.
Mm-hmm.
And whether that ends up being like, the governor or the saviors or Alexandria, that could always end up being either or a coin toss whether or not they become radicalized by it.
Yeah.
Jadis, on this hand, happens to be the side that becomes radicalized and happens to be the CRM, which is a very you know, very cash money kind of place to be
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
So,
Right. And I think that's why she chose to tell Rick where her document is. I
yeah,
think she recognizes in talking to Gabriel in their discussions because she does. I think it's the weirdest combination. I really do.
I
But
know.
in their
Brad, Brad,
discussions and
Brad texted me, was he going to be surprised with any like characters in this episode? And I was like,
well, we knew there was going to be a cameo, but
honestly,
I just didn't know
yeah.
who.
I was like, honestly, not really. I wasn't surprised, but I'm more surprised with the fact that like Father Gabriel hasn't died yet. Because my
No,
man should have
bro
died
made it.
like
Bro made it to the end.
episodes ago, like
Straight up
seasons
made it to
ago.
the end. I told him, I was like,
Oh,
Rosita didn't make it to the end, and Gabriel still made it to the end. Like, it's kind
no,
of wild to me because
yeah.
Rosita was like, you couldn't touch Rosita. Rosita
Which
was a
which
badass.
I'm sure Gabriel's story could have been like much more like hardcore, more badass. But I mean, I'm okay with the story. But
Yeah. Well,
even
I think
imagine a priest, or like a priest suffering with his faith, just out there killing zombies. That's a dope story.
that is a dope story.
Yeah,
That
that's a
is.
pretty dope story.
You know, I
And,
liked his story. My
and Gabriel
mom
does a
always
decent.
hated that character.
Yeah.
Could not stand Gabriel. Which I'm going to be real at the beginning. Even Julia, we're in the middle of rewatching it right now. We're at the Whisper War. When they first found Gabriel outside of Atlanta, she was like, he's annoying. Like he was a really annoying character because he
Hmm.
was very like helpless. I can't do anything. You have to save me like all the time. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Now that he can excuse me, now that he can protect himself and now that he's not like a waste of oxygen, he's
He's actually
he's
a
fine,
badass like, with a
he
gun.
really
Yeah.
is, and he's a cool character, um and he's contributed a lot to the series overall,
Hmm.
um but yeah, I think with Jadis, the thing that made her switch at the end and really kind of be true not only to herself but to the people who, because look, Rick gave her a chance. Rick could have killed her. She double crossed Rick. She double crossed Negan. That's where the opportunist thing comes in. Like, she was just always in it for herself, and to quote Negan, those filthy garbage people. Like she was only ever in any of it for herself.
Hmm.
And I think she does recognize the fact that Rick Rick did take her in, and Rick did try to make her a part of things and did try to give her a home, even if she didn't deserve it. And I think thinking about her people being killed as Simon slaughtered them with that group of saviors,
Hmm.
and kind of thinking about the emotional implications of that, I think she realizes at the end, like, that's not right for me to do because it's essentially the same thing as Simon and the saviors walking in
Yeah.
and gunning down all of the garbage people, those
Hmm.
filthy garbage people. You know what I mean? Like chlorine gassing Alexandria and Hilltop and Kingdom, and I like that's not any
Bro,
better
can you
than.
imagine like how fucking sad it would be to chlorine gas like the fucking
Oh,
Alexandria?
that'd be terrible.
Be rough.
And what are they going to do about the Commonwealth? I mean, I assume she doesn't even know about the Commonwealth, but I
That's true.
mean, they would have to soon enough. They're going to have to know about the Commonwealth. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
because that's like a decent. It's a pretty good size of the
right.
community.
And they're
So.
all connected now. Like that whole chain
Hmm.
of communities are all connected. So like I feel like if you find out about one, you're gonna find out about the other ones.
Hmm.
But I think thinking about her own group and how they were slaughtered and what she had to do, putting them in the meat grinder once they had turned and things like that. Like I think that all went into her decision to allow Rick to get what he wanted. So
Hmm.
and we'll have to see in this finale if they can pull it off. I mean, that's I don't know how they're gonna wrap it up in one episode. I really don't. I mean, I don't think they will. I
Oh,
think
it's
they're
like two and
obviously
a half
gonna.
hours. So like,
I think that
I'm sure it
I
can be fucking possible.
see. It's weird. I heard it was gonna be like almost 2 hours, but Google, and I know Google can't believe everything you see on Google. Google
Ooh.
says the finale is only 45 minutes. I don't know if that's true.
Now for 45 minutes, I couldn't see that. I couldn't see them wrapping that up.
Yeah, I don't think that's true.
Yeah,
The first
I would
episode
say
was longer
I
than
would
that.
say at least like
Like,
90 minutes. I would say 90 minutes at best.
yeah,
90 minutes
yeah, I
is
would
good enough to get it done because I'm not
I would agree.
expecting any more fucking monologues from like what's his name? The fucking leader of the CRM, what I'd say?
Beale, Major
Beal.
General
I wouldn't
Beale.
expect any more like other than a
Yeah,
speech that we probably see. I wouldn't expect much else from him.
other than that
Primarily
Echelon
I'd
briefing.
yeah. No, you're probably gonna get that from what's her face? Forget her name already. The
I
one
forget
that
her name too.
yeah, the one that's
Um,
drinking the Kool-Aid now. Like
yeah, I know who you're talking
and
about.
you still have
What's
to deal with her. Which,
what's
by
her
the
name?
way, I hope she doesn't. I hope they don't kill her off because at this point, there's no one really left to like really connect to CRM. If
Thorn,
that makes
Pearl
sense.
Thorn. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, but you know that's like the only people left is Thorn and the leader. Like as
I
far as like
know, but
connection to the CRM,
Thorn could be an
Thorn
issue, man. Thorn could
Thorn is
be a
too
big,
dangerous to
big,
be
big, big, big
alive.
issue.
But that's all the more reason to keep her there
Yeah,
because she's such an unpredictable character right now that it puts everyone on their toes because without Thorne there, it kind of makes it way too easy for Michonne and Rick, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
at that
I
point,
agree.
it's just two of our heroes going against a big bad,
Yeah,
whereas Thorne is like the foil for Rick, because Rick has prior history with Thorne, and Thorne obviously doesn't want to feel betrayed. Already, probably feels betrayed by Rick. And you know
right.
what Thorne already said with Rick? She says, "If you betray me, I have no problem shooting you in the head." Like there's like
Yeah.
she's all about business, but I think with the betrayal and feeling alone and having the heavy burden of reading the
Mhm.
Echelon report, I know it's made her, well, we've seen already from episode three or four that it's pushed her off the deep end already. Like she's feeling the
Yeah,
pressure, and if she was
yeah.
about to crack like on that episode. So
And that's what I'm saying. Like, what is in that briefing
mhm,
that changes people that much? Like, it's blowing my mind, and I'm excited to see what it is. But
mhm.
there were a lot of good things in both of these episodes. Really, this entire series, every episode has been really really great so far. I mean, I haven't been disappointed in it at all. You know, and felt like it was slow.
You
Um,
know, I haven't either, man. I've thoroughly enjoyed this the ones who live, because it's definitely felt more or less, not for me to say it's more of the Walking Dead esque. I'd be lying,
it
because I mean
is.
well,
It
this is
is.
like this is far away from the fucking farm. You know what I mean? Like we've
Right, but
steered
it
far away from that,
the
but
storytelling still has the feel of OG Walking Dead. Like it just does. And I know it's
mhm.
way different and story-wise we are in a different realm from where we were like wandering the back roads of Georgia, you know. But there's a lot of really good things. Rick reacting to technology in episode 4, by the way, was absolutely
My man
hysterical.
acts like he hasn't seen a
He said,
fucking
"Where the
cell
hell
phone
is
in his
that
life.
thing?"
Yeah, I said,
That
Jesus
was
Christ,
so
dude.
cool. It was really really funny.
When did the Walking Dead start?
2010.
Bro, I knew what a Roomba was in 2010. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
kidding. I don't know Roombas.
The outbreak happened in like October of 2010 in the show.
I
So
had an iPhone 2010. Get the fuck out of here, Rick. Calm down.
so but please guys, let us know your thoughts. What are your predictions for the season 1 finale of The Walking episodes 4 and 5, What We Become? Please let us know in the comments below. I'm super stoked to see how they wrap up this story or don't wrap up this story. I don't think they're going to wrap up the story. I think all signs point to a major war, major conflict between everybody, literally everybody in this universe and the
Mhm,
CRM. But
mhm.
that's just me. So,
I do too.
but listen, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I know it's been a little while since we've been around, but we're gonna get back into some stuff. Hopefully, as early as this weekend and next week, we're gonna post our parking lot thoughts as soon as we walk out of Godzilla
Hell
and
yeah.
Kong on Saturday night. Super excited for that. And we're going to getting into posting some standalone content as well. I've got a couple of videos ready. I'm just going to film them and we'll get those out there. So if you have not already, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at LTN Podcast KY. Please join our Facebook group. Type in Let's Talk Movies YouTube channel - community page, and with that will take you there. It'll get you nice and plump and just like it'll get you ready for it. So I don't know what I'm saying. It's super late and I'm tired. But thank you so much for joining us. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. Peace out. Bye.
Later.